We're having some technical difficulties. Change it over here.
Pamela, we have to start.
Let's just use this one.
Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is really exciting because I get to interview Pamela Estrada, and if you don't know, you will soon know about her because she's an incredible artist. She's a writer, director, a producer. And if you watched my very first video that I posted on YouTube, I mentioned that I write and produce. We wrote a web series and our pilot episode is coming out tomorrow. I'm gonna put the link in the description box if you want to check it out. And I'm really excited to talk to her and pick her brain about her as an artist. When you somebody and you're introducing yourself and they ask what you do, what do you say?
It's a good question because I always find it very daunting to answer that question. I actually had to answer it recently, and I was like I think at the beginning I was like always an actor, so I always said actor, and I would be like, but I double like I want to like learn more about producing and then it would just ramble on to all the different titles. I think now the only one that I say it's filmmaker because I think it encompasses everything. Like filmmaking can be directing, it could be producing, it could be writing. And I think that's what I use. That's what I use in my little, what's it called? The business cards.
Yeah.
Like that's what I say, filmmaker. And then I'll say and I also act on the side.
I tried to think of questions that I don't know about you.
Okay.
So this is one of them. Do you, Pamela, tie your identity to your work? And if you do you think that's helpful to you as an artist, or do you think it hinders when you're creating?
Can I just ask you, what do you mean by tying your identity to your work? What do you mean by that?
Do you think it's a huge part of your character as a person, the work that you do and how you do it?
Yes. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes, I do. And I think so. The reason why I do that is because when I write, specifically when I'm writing characters or writing something, I feel like you have to write about what you know. And I do believe I don't know, I think it just gets better when you write a show or a film or anything about something personal, something that you know, something that you have experienced. I think it just really translates to the audience. Not saying that everyone has to write about things that you know, because I potentially can write about fiction on something that I haven't experienced, but at the end of the day I feel like when you do write something that you really truly know, it just kind of what's the word, it stays with the audience more than usual. When we wrote the web series, Alexandria was so easy to write for because I knew what she was going through. I know the feelings, I know what her issues were. So I felt very related to her. Writing the other series Tonya, the one that I'm currently writing, it's easy because I know again what she feels, what she's like. So it doesn't mean that both characters are the same because it's different people, different things. But yeah, I do. And even when acting too, I always felt if I was gonna take, if I was getting casted as a Latina, okay, is it a good character? Is it not gonna be just another I don't know, your typical stereotypes of a Latina, you know? So for sure. And even when thinking about making a movie or something, I always the ideas that I have are related to Mexico. So I do take a big pride on bringing my background and who I am into my work.
I 100% agree. And I think that the both of us have this tunnel vision when it comes to what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to put out there. I wonder though, do you ever worry that because our vision is so specific, we're not open to other possibilities?
I think if anything, it has helped us more than doing bad to us. Um, I feel like it helps us to like stay focused, stay like motivated. Because again, it's not something that has been solved. It's not something that's going to get solved like from one day to the other. So I think bringing that representation into the screen and like getting that motivation to like keep going and keep going is just helping us right now.
Exactly. And the more opportunity you give to people who aren't the majority, the more they can create and then go and do their own story, because there's no way that we can represent everybody. Like, I don't represent every woman who's Black.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to put an image of myself out there so that maybe somebody else can come along and add to the image and add to the stories and add to the layers. So
I like that. Yeah. Because I remember a lot of like our teachers being like, you need to find another like hobby that is not acting or like anything in the film industry. And like so far, I mean, I do have different hobbies, but like a lot of them are related to like the arts. Like a lot of them are related to film industry. So I'm like, okay, I need to find something else that's like healthy that lets me like kind of like separate myself from this.
yeah, because
So I agree.
we love acting and we love writing, but also the fact that it's our work and like what we want our careers to be, that adds a lot of expectations and pressure, which is completely opposite of what a hobby is or should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Then again, I don't like running. I don't like doing all of those stuff. So
I just want to let you guys know, if you don't know Pam, but the second you meet her, you will also know her love for Guillermo del Toro. He's one of like your biggest inspirations, right? Which he should be. He's phenomenal and he's a visionary.
yes.
I think I would describe him as a visionary.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm curious about. Say Guillermo del Toro comes to you and
Yeah.
wants you to be part of his
Call
next
me.
as an actor. Like, he's approaching you as an actor.
Okay.
Read the script
Yeah.
and you don't like it. You don't like it.
Okay.
So I want to know, in that moment, like, what's more important to you? Is it the overall story? Is it the character you're being offered, or the filmmaker that you're going to be working with?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to like actually like dive into that scenario where like I don't like something he wrote. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, does that even exist? It doesn't matter. I would work with him. Um, I would find a way to like my character, empathize with my character. Because at the end of the day, I think I also would like to see how he directs.
Mm.
So that's one of like, to be honest, right now, like if anything, I would rather like see him direct. Like I want to learn what his like processes, because I think he does have a specific way of directing like all of his movies.
Yeah.
Like they have a specific tone, as you know. Um, and I just want to know what it's like from the beginning, like when he starts, like he knows he has the story, like what's his vision board, like what like are the processes, how collaborative he is with people, like how much does he trust people into this project. So I would just want to know all of that.
You're finding a lot of loopholes to my question. So let me put you in a different.
Okay.
You
Okay.
are a very busy, in demand actress.
Okay.
What is most important to you when you read a script? Is it the story, the character, or the director you'll be working with?
I think probably the script, to be honest. I think it's a story. I think at the end of the day it's a story. um yeah, because overall, look, as an actor, yes, it's great to like think of like um character wise, but your character is only one piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, what you're going to see on screen is a story. And like I think it matters a lot of what stories are being told. And if it's a story about like, I don't know, like a gang, a mafia, like there's too many out there. Like, no. Like if it's a story that, I don't know, like people need to hear, people haven't seen, it's a voice that hasn't been heard, like I would be excited to be, even if I only have like a few lines, even if my character is like just coming out of the like little house saying hi and then going back in.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what would drive me the most. If at the end of the day I'm like, gosh, I was part of this amazing like story. I was part of this amazing project, and like people get to see it over the world. Like it might change different perspectives. It might like actually bring awareness into something. Like I think that's gonna like motivate me the most.
Different. I go director, or not just director, like who's the key crew member. So director,
Yeah.
photographer, producer, and then story, and then character. Just because I think it's really difficult to make a good movie. And sometimes what's on the page might not be what ends up on screen.
Yeah.
And I also think that actors have a very intimate relationship with their directors. And so if you're on something and you don't get along with the person who's in charge of like leading this movie and putting it together, that's going to make for an awful experience, not just for you,
Yeah.
cause tension amongst the entire set. So that's just
No, I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Um, to be honest, in my scenario, I was like, whatever the story is, they probably would give it to a good director. Um, so I was like, I don't care about really a director that much. But no, you're right. I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, they're kind of like the leader of the whole group, and they have to like be good leaders. And it's their vision. So yeah, no, that's a good one.
I think that's one of the things that actors underestimate, is that it's a director's vision, and we're here to help them put it to life, right?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your directing style is influenced by the fact that you are an actor. Anything that was frustrating to you in terms of how actors receive direction?
I don't think frustrating is the word that I would use. I think it was very daunting, like coming in, like first time directing. Like I literally like researched so much about directing, like before directing, while also like doing pre-production with you.
I know.
But like I was like articles, videos, articles, because I think one of the things that I did a lot with our web series is that I focused more on our characters. And I did a little bit of like tech, as in like, oh, I feel like this should be the shot, this should be the shot. So a lot of like my directing was just talent. And I think the frustrating, if you want to call it that, would be just the learning that everyone has a different way of taking directions. So yeah, so figure it out like what works with each and one of you. Because like I have worked with you before, like I knew, and we've done self tapes before, and I think I realized that I liked directing while doing self tapes, because I like being like, oh, like have you thought of this? Have you thought that this line, like what is she feeling? What is your character like going through? Like what about their parents? So what about this? With you, it worked perfectly because like we've done it before. But with people that I didn't know, that I've never worked with before, it was like, oh, what's your way of learning? What's your way of like of taking directions? So that was kind of like a curve. It was like, oh,
when like a director and actor find a groove, they continue to work together because you just develop a shorthand. So what about when it's reversed? How do you like to be directed?
I like the question game. I like the question, like I don't want you to tell me like do this like this, because then why am I here? Like you're just doing my job. Like I'm supposed to be the one feeling the emotion. I'm supposed to be like giving you this. So I like being like, have you thought about this? And then it's like, oh, okay. But there's been a lot of times that it's like, can you give me that like sadder? So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess I can do that. So the thing that I like is just that question thing, like getting like, it's a collaboration at the end of the day. Like it feels more like a collaboration when you ask me things and then I'm like, okay, this is what I think. Like, what do you think? And back and forth. And then it's like, okay, give me that. Go on.
What about when working with crew? Because I imagine that it's intimidating since a crew member has a specialty. They know, like if they're a camera person, they know camera gear, they know what lenses are called. And how do you balance that line between communicating with them what it is that you want while also knowing that they may know more?
That was that was frustrating. That was actually frustrating because like during my research, I also like research a lot for like shots and like what lenses and like what this. But at the end of the day, like there's so much you can like learn in like a week or like a few days. And also like it's very like once you start researching and going through that rabbit hole, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't take any more information. And thank God that again we got blessed with an amazing crew. And with Daniel and Elton, I remember meeting with Daniel and being like he kind of like gave me like, oh, have you thought about this? And I was like, oh no, that's a great idea. Like remember he was saying like, have you thought about like giving each character their specific like type of shot? So like for Dylan, who's like more like troublemaker, like very like all over the place, like is she handheld? Like let's handheld the camera, you know? Like with Miranda, who's like very calm, very like she knows all the time, like maybe we actually just do tripod because she's stable, she's like there. And with with Alexandria, who's like in the middle, like she also has this like part of her life like going to shits, and then like her career is going well. Like, can we do like more like a follow-up? Can we like move with her? So that was something that like he mentioned. I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. Like, yeah, that's great. And then with the music video.
So the video is called, I'm gonna put it in the description box, but it's Cheers, and then his name is Vibes by Mello. She directed this, and they did this over the pandemic, and it was just recently released. So tell me about that.
I partnered in with a great friend of mine, Spencer, who's he's a videographer. He has way more knowledge than I do when it comes to like cameras and lenses and all of this. I was like, I have no idea about like shots. I have no idea. And like we tested out different things in the park. And like I learned with him like about all these different like lenses and everything. What my job is to, as a director, was basically like I came up with the story. So I remember Mello sent me the song and I was like, what was the song about? And he was like, oh, well, it's about like the quarantine and like kind of focusing on like the positive things. And then I came up with like the story about like a couple and like how they would deal with quarantine and like seeing the good things about quarantine. And I remember meeting with Spencer and telling him that, and he was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And then it was a collaborative like process where like, okay, we could get shots of this. Should we get shots of this? And I was like, oh, like I thought about like them in an apartment, like maybe cooking, maybe like dancing. Spencer, at that point, he already knew like which lenses he would use for like he had thoughts of like, oh, like we should do a wide shot for like this and then that. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like, that's great. And then we tested things like in the park to make sure that everything was going well. And then the day off, it was a lot of like, oh, like Mello, you should do this, like Brittany, do this. And like it was a lot of like trying different things. But at the end of the day, it was literally Spencer and I kind of like directing together and like shooting together in the editing process. It was a lot of like, oh, like the first draft. And I remember, I think I even asked you like, what you thought? And it was like very fast. Yeah. Like we were kind of missing the parts that we needed to like actually see, like for us to feel that they were a couple and that they were together. Yeah. Like the first draft was just not kind of like saying that. And it was fun to like go through that. It was like, oh, can you pull this away? You should do this. Should we like change this instead of this? So that was great. Yeah. It was really fun.
Yeah. I think it's such a good combination of people, like you coming in wanting like a story and wanting it to be character driven, and then Spencer adding on to that and making it very like stylistic, making it flow with the beat and the song.
I think that's why it worked really well. Like my idea was, let's make a story out of this. And his was like, let's just make it fun and popping. And I was like, okay, so we met in the middle and this is what.
That's so good.
What was the result? Yeah.
When we were writing Hypothetical Adults. We wrote 6 episodes. We went through a huge learning curve. Just having to collaborate with somebody and merging your writing style, that in itself is going to teach you a lot, right? I want to know if there's something that you just learned about yourself, about how you like to work, and how did it change you? If it did change.
I learned that I like poop jokes a lot.
Oh my gosh, yes. I had to shut down all of her poop jokes. Like, I'm so sorry.
I don't know why I'm obsessed with poop jokes, but anyways, how we kind of like approached the I don't like what you wrote, let's change it. Like it was the way that no, but like I'm in all seriousness, like the way that we approached that, I think it was, I don't know how we came up with that, but it was really well. I think it works for both of us. Like we don't take it personally. Like we don't go around and be like, oh, like how dare you like say that about my idea, blah blah. It's like, okay, tell me why you don't like it. Like what's wrong with like what I wrote.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I feel like the character wouldn't say that. I feel like the character, then if you're saying this, then at the end of the day, like she wouldn't be able to do that. And then it was a lot of like talking. Like it was a lot of like back and forth, and we never kind of like got upset, or at least I never got upset about like anything that you like gave me feedback on. And I think that was great. I think that that's why we have stayed together and why it has worked, because that is not only in our writing room, it's like everywhere. Like we are always very like open to feedback.
Yeah.
So it has worked really well for us. I think that's what I learned.
I think that it works with people who are just not too all up in their feelings. Like you said, when we would give feedback, we would approach it from like an analytical point. It wouldn't just be, oh, I don't like it, point blank. Like, tell me why you don't like it, so we can like explore and ask questions and find solutions.
Yes.
And when somebody says no to you, it's not just shutting you down, it's giving you an opportunity to make something better.
Yep, I agree with all of that.
Lastly, where do you want to be, or where do you hope to be in like 1 year? I don't want to make it 5 years. I don't want to make it 10 years. 1 year from now, what would you like in your life?
I want to have directed 3 different things. So I'm already like almost halfway there. I want to fully be doing production. So I don't want to have a part-time job. I want to be full-time in production. Hopefully working with Guillermo Del Toro.
Hashtag Guillermo Del Toro. Yes.
I'm like 70-60% there. Just a little jump. Hopefully filming Mexican Gothic.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
No, but like I realistically, like I want to be like getting all my money from production. Like I want to be producing. I want to be like on set, getting my money from what I love.
Yeah.
So that means either being in the writing room, or directing, or being a production assistant. Well, not PA. Maybe not PA, but like in production, like assistant director, like getting that. That's what I want. That's all I need in my life.
All of your income is going to come from production, except PA. Yes, I'm sorry. We don't want to. We've done it. I feel like we've paid our dues when it comes to PA.
I feel like we have to. I feel, but then again, maybe that's how every actor feels. I mean, every person in this industry feels. So, I don't know.
That's so true. Thank you so much, Pam, for doing this.
No problem. No problem.